Okay, so in the progress of training Cheyenne, there's a couple of different things that I had to run out and get for her. Now, I've been riding for a while, but I've never owned a horse before, so I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and get everything. So, like I said, I've been horseback riding for a good majority of my life, and most of it was English, and with her, I'm learning Western. So I went out and I got her a new bit and a new bridle. She already had a saddle. Of course, I had to get more blankets because, beautiful blankets are pretty. Come on, Neil. I got her leg wraps for both in case she nicks her leg or she steps on something or anything like that. And plus, leg wraps are just a nice thing to have to keep flies off their legs and they look pretty. With English, I had to go get a whole new bridle, a whole new bit, which she had never had before. And let's face it, she doesn't like nosebands, so I had to take that off. I did get her a new halter and I did get her a new lead rope. I did get a lunging rope. I got a lunging whip just to tap the ground. I've never tapped her with it, just to try to get her exercised and her balance correct and just make sure she's not crooked when I get on her, because there's nothing more uncomfortable than a crooked horse that makes you crooked and you're just like, ooh, okay, that's how it's gonna be today. So, as I've explained before, she had bad ground manners. So, on a daily basis, even now, when I go out to go see Cheyenne, she pins her ears back when she sees me. And whether or not she's going to bite me is, I guess, the Jeopardy question of the day. She doesn't always do it, but sometimes she likes to nip at me, especially if I haven't seen her for a while. It's part of her insecurity issues that she has, and just the fact that, I just haven't come out for a while, and she's like, oh, where have you been? Like, where's my treats? Which she likes a lot. When I come out into the pasture, I have to give her treats first. She used to be very greedy and very snatchy and in my space, so I have worked to get her out of my space and make sure she respects my space as much as I respect hers. Now, with groundwork and in the field, I had trouble catching her. So to make it easier for me to catch her, I would just go out and spend time with her out in the field, just sitting in the field, having her presence and your presence around her, and just her kind of getting used to her being you being in her area. Sorry. I would keep treats in my pocket, so if she did decide to come up to me, she'd be like, ooh, treats, which kind of builds like a positive reinforcement for her to want to come up to me instead of kicking at me or trying to bite at me or charge me when I'm coming out in the field. And to where if she sees the halter and lead rope, she's not going to think, okay, I'm going to run now. She's going to think, okay, I'm going to get treats now. So that's a thumbs up. Now, with extended groundwork, like I said, Cheyenne is very dominant, very bossy. She likes to get up in your space, and I don't like that. All my years of riding, I like it when my horse keeps their head next to my shoulder. So we would work on walking forward, which she would bite me, or pull her head back, either one of the two that worked first. So I had to learn to keep my hand up so she wouldn't turn her head into me. So she learned to get better about that. Walking forward wasn't too bad. Every now and then, if she didn't feel like stepping forward, I'd make sure she would move her front feet first by either turning her or just tricking her with like a treater. I keep wrappers in my pocket. I know it's a little mean, but I would keep wrappers in my pocket, and I would crunch it so that way she would walk forward. Next is turning. Turning my way's fine. When I ask her to turn opposite of me, every now and then she likes to throw her head up and pin her ears back, and I don't like that. So I'd work extra on turning. And the hardest part was backing up, because she would definitely try to take my head off. So I would have to keep my arm blocked as I'm pushing on her chest. I don't push her hard, and I don't yank on her face. I just lightly push, and I ask her to back up. And she would try to bite me, so I'd have to keep my arm up. When she would take at least just a foot back, I would literally give her a treat and pet her so much. Oh my god, the reward was crazy with this horse. The amount of money I have spent on treats is probably pretty sad, and the amount of treats we go through in the barn is pretty sad. But it's just conditional learning that was taught by Pavlov. When the dogs hear the ding, they salivate, and they get food. And over time they learn that. So this is kind of similar. When Cheyenne does something good, I have a clicker, so I click it, and she gets a treat. So now she knows that when she does something good and when she hears the click, she's going to get a treat. And to get her used to that, which is more conditioning, you click it and you treat her, click it and you treat her, click it and you treat her. So eventually she got used to that, and that was very nice for me, because then when she realized she did something good, she'd hear the click and she's ready to get fed. Now if I don't have a treat on her, I give her a click, it's going to be a different story. Always make sure you got enough treats on you. That's very important, especially with Cheyenne. So ground manners is, like I said, like ground manners is a big thing. You know, you want to make sure that your horse has respect for you, so they don't trample you, kick you, bite you, charge you, push you around, or anything like that. Now, there's a reference called in your pocket. Cheyenne is not like that. She's only in your pocket if she knows there's treats in your pocket. Now, if I go out in the field and if I'm like cleaning up the field, because let's face it, you got a muck, she's gonna be like, I don't want anything to do with you. Nope. She might come over and sniff me once, checking my pockets, and if she can tell I don't have anything on it, she's like, alright, bye. Now, riding. Again, dominance and refusal. First 10 minutes I get on, Cheyenne is always a battle. Let's face it, it's just not happening. She doesn't want to work, and you can kind of tell that when you start tacking her up. So we'll start with tacking up. When I tack her up, she likes being brushed. She loves being brushed. Just don't brush her stomach for too long because then she gets grumpy. She likes it when you get all the mud off her legs. She likes it when you play with the non-existing mane that she has and her little forelock, or fetlock, polelock, sorry, one of those ones. And she likes her tail being brushed. Now, speaking of the tail end, Cheyenne has a very weird habit that's a little scary. So, with her, she's either going to kick you, or she wants butt scratch. And that's when she puts her butt up against you, and you gotta scratch her, and if you don't, she's going to turn around and give you a dirty look. But after I get her all brushed off and everything like that, you know, you gotta tack up. And I swear to God, if a look could kill, Cheyenne would have killed me about 100 times now, because as soon as she sees the saddle pad, she's like, I'm gonna eat you. Literally, she tries to reach her head around and she tries to bite me. So I have to tie her head a little tighter, and I don't like doing that, but I keep enough slack to where she's able to look around, but she's not able to turn around and bite me. So as soon as I put the saddle pad on, she's already got her ears back, she's got her head up, she's got that little sneer going on her face, and I'm like, oh God. So Cheyenne is the queen of dirty looks, but 9 times out of 10, if she's actually going to bite me, I don't know. So what I do is, to ensure that she's not going to, I pet her face. Yes, I know sometimes that can be a little sketchy, because if a horse is about to bite you, you don't want to put their hand near their mouth. She's kind of like an actress. So I just go ahead and I pet her face, and I'm like, oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you know, reassuring her and everything like that, giving her a treat when she stops looking like she's gonna eat me. And I grab the saddle, and again, boom, ready to eat me. Especially when I start to put the girth on. She opens her mouth, she shows her teeth, tries to swing at me, she jumps her back up, she swishes her tail, and it's not like I'm killing her or anything. I literally put the girth up one hole at a time, and I pet her neck every time. Now, to work on her being so girthy, which she doesn't try to bite me as much now, before it was a struggle, and I used to be scared of her, I'm not going to lie. Over time, I've learned that she's an actress, but at first, I thought she was actually going to eat me. So, to work on that, I pet her neck, I pat her neck, I make sure to calm her down when I stop girthing, and I'll give her a treat when she would put her ears back forward instead of against her neck. And then over time, I kind of mess with her. I mean, all of us mess with our horses, so whenever she tries to reach her head around, I grab her nose. And she's like, ooh, you're touching my nose. I'm like, yeah, I'm touching your nose. And I pet her again, and now if anything, she just puts her ears back a little bit and just shrugs a little, and she lets me put it on, which is great. And then we go to the mountain block. She used to like to try to walk away, and now I'm just kind of like, no, stay here, so she's learned to stay. And as far as riding, like I said, the first 10 minutes is usually a pretty good battle. Her biggest refusal, she likes to back up, or she won't walk forward. So, like I said, out in the field, I get her to move her feet first. Same thing with her. I get her to move her feet first from the back. She neck reins, so that works out. I don't use a whip on her. I try to teach her with my legs. I use vocal commands and everything like that. So, over time, I've taught her vocal commands, seat commands, and leg commands. It's taken a while, but it works. And I'm very, very, very proud of her and myself. So I don't want to get too in depth on all the training that we went through, because like I said, it was a lot. But basically it's all through the clicker, and like I said, I ask her stuff with my legs, and as soon as she does it right, she hears a click, she gets a treat. Click, treat. Like I said, rewarding. Best thing to do. Make sure you have time with them, you have a lot of patience with them, and that over time you guys build up a good relationship. If you don't have one, if you already have one, that's great. Cheyenne and I definitely had to work on that. So, like I said, stay in tune for more videos about myself and my horse. Thank you.